The market is finally turning green, which is a nice change. Is it still too early to call it? Yes, I believe that this week is going to be busy. There are still a lot of talks going on about taxes in the trade war. I think that this is the week that the next big wave to the upside will begin if things start to look up in the trade war and good deals are made. Also, I have a lot more information to go over. Some of it is about how a supply shock is going to hit the space in a big way. So, take it easy and welcome to the channel. Hey everyone, my name is Nick. For people who are new to the channel, you can subscribe near the end of this movie. Yes, the market as a whole has been pretty good for the most part. In fact, crypto has had a pretty good week lately, which is nice to see after such a rough month. That is, the month itself is a pretty bright red. It's also nice to see some green. I'll take any kind of green right now. Also, you should know that XRP has been doing a great job of recovering from its recent lows of around sub $2 or around $2.05. This is how the last month looks. We did get below $2 at the start of the month. We've gone from about $160 to over $2 since then. We did reach about $2.22 in the middle of April. But right now we're at about $2.12 and I'm recording this a little earlier in the day. On top of that, I've been looking at trading volume, and trading volume around XRP is up about 68% across the board. Also, the number of trades is going up, which is great to see. 2.75 trillion in crypto market cap. We can see Bitcoin. The total amount of trades on Bitcoin is up about 3.5%, and the total amount of trades on Ethereum is up about 86%. In other words, some nice gains over the last 24 hours. This is what the 24-hour span looks like in terms of some of those gains over the course of 7 days. Besides that though, yes, let's talk about XRP some more. A little bit of my attention has been on fiat leak. I'm just interested in seeing how much XRP is being traded and getting some information from that. You should also know that XRP has been bought up a lot. Additionally, we know that the number of wallets and addresses that hold XRP has grown greatly. Thanks a lot, XRP Daily. We now have 6.2 million XRP addresses, which is the most ever. Each of these addresses holds at least one XRP. The amount of money traded in XRP futures has also hit a monthly high of $21.62 billion, which is great. To go over this one more time, let's take a look at the general space here and at some of the columns. We can see the amount from the last 30 days if we want to. Also, let me quickly add this to the chart. If we look at the trading volume of many cryptocurrencies over the last 30 days, we can see that XRP alone has seen over 76 or almost $77 billion worth of trades. Ethereum and Bitcoin have also seen over $700 billion worth of trades over the last 30 days. At this point, this shows that there is a lot of movement in this area. Some people trade with fixed coins, but a lot of people trade in general. If you really think about it, you should know how much Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP and other major cryptocurrencies are traded. Just look at Tether. $3.6 trillion worth of trades, which means there has been a lot of push to sell in this area. There's a lot of push to buy. In general, the place is still very much alive. But I bring up trading volume because you know a lot of people are thinking, alright, so is everyone out of this space at this point? Like are stores just staying away from crypto? Is there really still someone here? Yes, that's correct. There are still a lot of people trading in this room 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is great to see. And yes, XRP is a big part of the trade volume, and there's still a lot going on with it. When it comes to Bitcoin, I've been concentrating on it for the past month. We're now back to those important levels from the end of March that we did reject, which started this slide down to about $75,000, which is what I'm really paying attention to on the chart. To break over these highs, we would need to get to almost $90,000. I think that after that, the next goal should be $95,000 or $96,000 if we can reach that. After that, more than $100,000. As I already said, this could be the start. If this week goes well for taxes in the trade war talks, then this could be the week that everything changes in crypto, just like I've been sad about for the past few days. Also, what about the Bitcoin that is still on exchanges? I saw a post on X that turned out to be from Martini Guy on YouTube. We also have Justin Bitcoin. This is the lowest amount of all exchange reserves that has ever been seen. There will be a supply shock. Okay, I'd like to talk about this when we think about it. Okay, to begin, there was the supply shock. Is Bitcoin going to have a supply shock? We'll just call it Bitcoin. I do believe that the supply measures are very important to pay attention to, since supply and demand are obviously linked, right? This will cause the value of Bitcoin to go up by a lot. How do we know that? We'll go back to January 2024, right? If you look at this chart and zoom in on the period for January 2024, you can see what our trading levels were at that time. Yes, there was a brief rise in Bitcoin's value to around $50,000 at the start of January. This is when we heard the news and the talk about the ETF. We sold. That being said, if you look at the exchange funds, after that sell-off they kept going down, and during that time we kept going up to almost $73,000 or $74,000. Then during the whole sell-off, from around the beginning of March through the summer and into September, October and November, check out the exchange funds. They fell down. That's what caused that huge push to $100, 000 plus. But here's the thing, we've been selling from over $100,000 down to around $70, 000. Take a look at that huge waterfall of exchange funds. We can tell that something big is going to happen with Bitcoin because of this. Because of this, I also believe that now is one of the best times to focus on Bitcoin's power, as I believe this will lead to alt season. I believe that the next big push to move on Bitcoin will be the one where Ethereum and other old coins start to take share from Bitcoin. I also think this is where XRP starts to surprise a lot of people. Next, what else will be behind this big rise in Bitcoin prices besides the exchange reserves? That's right, the Fed is making money. Many people have asked me, Nick, why do you think this is going to happen? What do you know? It has already begun to print in China, Japan and the EU. This was already written about by Marty Party. We have an update on world liquidity. The M2 money supply is growing in China, Japan and the EU. Yes, they all began to print money. The question is, where is the Fed? Let's talk about the Fed. To begin, let's talk about M2 quantity with Bitcoin. We've talked about this, okay? Why do I keep talking about this? Because it already tells us that Bitcoin is about to go through its next big rise. We already have enough money saved up. The M2 quantity is already going up outside of the US, which is also responsible for real inflation. Since this is from Anthony Pompliano, we know that true inflation is 1.4%, which is a lot lower than the Fed's target figure. Since real inflation is 1.42, the Fed should lower interest rates right now. Based on that, if the Fed lowers interest rates and the M2 supply in the US starts to rise greatly, there will be a lot of money flooding these markets. I've been sad about this for a few weeks now because I think it's going to happen. Sure, you might say, but we can't just use what other countries like China, Japan and the EU are doing to back up this case. But I have doubts about this. Why can't we? We could be in the same situation in 2020 or even in 2016, if we think about what's going on